This lecture will cover methods in Java. We will look at methods in Java, the benefits of them, and how to program them in Java. To get more info, search the internet for defining methods in Java. A method is the same as a procedure. It is a short, named group of commands for completing a specific task. You have subroutines and functions. Subroutines do something, and functions do something along with returning a value. Methods are beneficial because they allow you to divide and conquer your programming task. You can break large problems into smaller, more manageable problems. You can write one method and reuse it many times. Methods make code maintenance easier and saves you time in debugging. Best programming practice is to make your method short, one screen or less, so you can easily read all the code. If you have a method that is more than one page, you probably need to break it into smaller parts. This is called the one-page limit in programming. Your method names need to be descriptive because you want to tell the programmer exactly what this method is doing without having to read the code. This is very important in any programming language. One way to test if a method is well named, ask a coworker to tell you what the procedure or method does. If they do not answer quickly, you probably want to rename the method. Be sure to name your methods with proper case and give them a meaningful description. When you find yourself duplicating code, this means you probably need a loop, or you need to create a method for this code. This is very important since you will only have one place to modify the code. This will save you time and effort in the future. This is a good rule to follow. Methods should appear in your code in the order in which they are executed or called. This makes your program easier to read, and you will be able to find the code quickly. To use methods, you must create the method, and then you must call the method. Let's look at each step one at a time. This slide shows the generic syntax for defining a method. When you have a method that does not return a result, use void to indicate there is no return data type. When you want to return a data type or create a function, you must indicate the data type and you must have a return statement in the method. The execution of the method stops as soon as the return is encountered, as shown at the bottom of the screen. See the correct example at the top of the screen and the incorrect example at the bottom of the screen. You must add 2 keywords in front of every method, public static. I will cover this in the object-oriented programming lecture in the future. For now, I will just tell you public means that the method is visible and can be called from other objects of other types. Static means that the method is associated with a class, not a specific instance object of that class. This means that you can call a static method without creating an object of the class. After you define the method, you can call the method. Here is the syntax for method display instructions. Refer to the example on the screen. Here is a method with a return value, or it's a function. You can use the assignment operator to assign the return value to the variable as shown on the screen. Notice how we populate pi by calling the getPy function. I cannot stress this enough. You must indent your code. Always indent your code in your method by one and only one tab. This shows scope. Refer to the incorrect example at the top of the screen and the correct example at the bottom of the screen. When you have an if statement or a loop inside a method, be sure to indent the code inside this logic. See the example on the screen. When you pass parameters or variables into a method, You must use the data type and variable name in the parameters after the method name. In this first example, we are passing the integer value into the isEven method. In the second example, we are passing two integers. The first integer is value 1, and the second integer is value 2. Functions should only have one return code. You should have the return code at the bottom of the method. We do this for readability, and we expect to see the return result at the bottom of the method. This screen shows you an example of an incorrect return. To fix this logic, you need to create a new variable to hold the return value. Then use the return statement on this new variable. Refer to the screen for the correct way to return values. Logic is easier to follow and debug when you have a single return. Be sure to provide a comment block above all your method signatures. This is a requirement in this course and by many employers. Get into the habit of providing descriptive documentation in all your programs for future maintenance. This will make it much easier to read and will allow for easier maintenance. The abstract is often the method name with spaces between the words or something similar to that. Be sure to describe your method in 2 lines or less. If you cannot do this, maybe you need to break the method up into 2 or more methods. Here are the different comments for Java. Be sure to follow the .comment format when you provide documentation above your methods. This screen shows you the various comment types in Java. Remember, the compiler ignores the first 2 examples. We will create Java docs in the future, and you must have proper comments for it to show up in the Java doc. Let's take a moment to review the questions on the screen. Now take a moment to review the answers on the screen. To summarize, methods are a named group of commands designed to complete a specific task. They should be short and only one page. Methods can be reused. They make your code more reliable since you only have one area to maintain. They also make your code easier to read. Be sure to place the methods in the order in which they are called in your program. All methods should have a comment block. If you create a function, be sure there is only one return statement. This concludes our lecture. Thanks, and see you next time.